Our class tonight is to round up on the first part of the class is to round up on that question on bond valuation. We have done like this should be 3 classes, the 3rd class on bond valuation. We have exhausted time on this topic. We are particular about this question because the examiner was texting additional concepts or other aspect of bond valuation. The examiner was texting forward rates. Like I said, last diet was the first time ICANN will be texting forward rates. For the previous diets, or from the previous diet, what we have is spot rates being texted. But last diet, the examiner started with forward rates. What it means is the examiner is likely to text more forward rates in the future diets. Hence, we cannot close our eyes to this question. At our last class, we tried to explain the forward rates. We tried to explain the spot rates. A quick recap of our explanation. The first is spot interest rates. Our first explanation is the spot interest rates. The spot interest rate is the interest rate paid or received on loan or deposits on the maturity of the instruments. The spot interest rate is that interest rate paid or received on deposits or loan by the investor at maturity. That interest rate received on spot on the maturity of the debt instruments is what we call spot interest rates. We also explained that the spot rate is that rate that makes the issue price of a bond, that is the issue price. The issue price is the price now. That spot rate is the rates that makes the issue price of a bond to grow and becomes the maturity value, the redemption value at maturity. Technically, the spot rate is our discount rate. Let me explain that briefly. If you recall the valuation of a bond, we said the value of a bond Let's just hold on. The value of a bond is calculated as the present value of the expected future cash flows. The value of a bond is calculated as the present value of the expected future cash flows. That means we have future cash flows from the bond. We are now going to use a discount rate to discount the future value to obtain the present value. That present value represents the current value of the bond, the current price of the bond. Now, if I'm giving the issue price, that is the price of the bond now, and I know the future value of the bond, then the interest rate that will be used to discount the present value to equal the issue price now is what we call the spot interest rate. We explained this last week. We equally explained forward rates. We said forward rates. This is the interest rate fixed today. The forward rate is the interest rate fixed today for loan or deposit to be made at a future specified date. The forward interest rate is the interest rate fixed today for loan or deposit to be made at a future specified date. It is the interest rate agrees today for loan you are going to make, loan you are going to take, or deposit you are going to make at a future date. That is the forward rate. Now the question is, how do we compute forward rates? And how do we compute spot rates? We have explained the computation of spot rates. To compute your spot rates, you are going to have the current price of the bond. Then you are going to have future cash flow from the bond. You can now use these two variables to determine the spot rate. The spot rate is that interest rate that will make the issue price to grow to becomes the future value of the bond. We have explained that. Now, to calculate your forward rates, I recall we stated the formula last week. Please, I'm going to enable the whiteboard. Allow me to enable the whiteboard. All right. Please, the first whiteboard has been shared. In case you are not seeing it, please let us know. All right, yeah. Let's move to the whiteboard now, proper. I need my dictator. Just 1 minute. Right. Now let us show the forward rate formula again. The forward rate formula, F M, N is equal to, open a big bracket, then open a small bracket, 1 plus ROM close the bracket, raised to power m minus 1 plus RON, comma n raised to power n, then close your big bracket, 1 over m minus n, everything minus 1. This is the forward rate. If you are to define your F M, N, this is equal to forward rates, starting at the end of year end and year end and maturing at the end of year M. This is the definition of FM, N. We said that our ROM is equal to spot rates. Maturing at year end, at year M, maturing at year.
Yes, when the other party came down from the vehicle, this was some others.
Please, can this person please help us to mute? RON, spot rates, starting at year end. Your M is the maturity period. Your M is our maturing, the maturing dates, maturing year or dates. Your N is the starting date. Now we have done this. Why am I doing this again? I'm being mindful of the fact that you are likely to have this coming. It may not be next diet, nobody is sure. It may be next diet, nobody is sure. But one thing that is very certain is the examiner is likely to be texting forward rates until there's assurance that accountants can do this rate. Now, I want to explain this. Please, let's go to the question. More explanation will be given in the course of solving the question. Question number 4. The following information is on 3 default free bond. Please, as you read question, you must also understand some terms being used. Examiner says the following information is on 3 default free bond. Default free bond are government bond. Bond that will not default. Default free bond. Bond where the issuer will not default payment, will not default repayment and interest payments as and when due. So default free bond are referred to as government debt security. That means bond A, bond B, bond C. These are government debt security. We are giving the price of the bond. As of today, the price of bond A is 105. The coupon payable on bond A is 10%. Redemption value of bond A is 100. Bond A will mature after 1 year. 1 year redeemable. Bond B. The current price of bond B is 96. The coupon on bond B is 4%. Redemption value of bond B is at par. Maturity of bond B is 2 years. We are giving bond C also. Now requirement 1 says, requirement A. Please hold on, where's the... Just blank. Please hold on, I'm just wondering why my system is just looking blank. See if I've done something. Where am I? See on my file. Where is the item? Okay. Requirement 1 says, estimate the 2-year forward rate at the end of year 1 and the 1-year forward rate at the end of year 2. Let's go to this. We need to explain this. 2-year forward rate at the end of year one. Please listen to this, please. We want to translate this to formula now. Two years forward rate at the end of year one. Please look at it. F three to one. This is 2 years forward rate at the end of year one. Let's explain this. At the end of year one, you are going to now count 2 years. After year one, 2 years after year one. That is year two, year three. 2 years forward rate at the end of year one. That means at the end of year one, count 2 years. At the end of year one, you are going to have 2 years. You have year two and year three. This denotes F3 to 1. This is 2 years forward rate at the end of year one. If you are to take this to formula now, look at it, please. Open a bracket. 1. This is your, from the formula. Remember the formula. F, M, N. Your number 3 represents your M, while N represents your 1. This becomes 1 minus R O 3, close my bracket, raised to power 3, all over 1 plus R O 1, raised to power 1. Close my bracket. 1 over my M. My M is 3. 3 minus my N is 1. 1. Everything minus 1. I've taken this to formula now. Record the formula for this. The formula is 1 plus R O M raised to power M all over 1 plus R O N raised to power N 1 over M minus N, everything minus 1. Now look at it, please. My N, my M is equal to 3. You observe that when I get to this M, I replace it with 3. My N is equal to 1. When I get to this part of the formula, I replace N with 1. Raised to power M, our M is 3. Raised to power N, our N is 1. Close our bracket. 1 over M, M is 3. Look at the linkage. We have defaulted this to formula now. Any question with this, please? Any question with this, please? Okay. I will now come here. Back to black. Let me go down a bit. Our RO3 is equal to spot rates. Spot rates maturing at the end of year 3. At the end of year 3. I need to compute this. Year 3. My RO1 is spot rates starting at the end of year 1. At the end of year 1. I need to compute this rate. I need to compute these spot rates. To compute spot rates at the end of year 1, we are going to use 1-year bond. I will repeat that. I've been thrown off. It's keeping this system. So please just hold on. I'm having so much. Let me even check. I'm not sure. Then, am I having so many screens being shared? I don't know. I think I'm having so. Let me just go to this. I'm not sure of this. No, what's keeping my class? Yes. So much. my screen. Hey, don't know why am I having so much. So much connection today. What's happening today? Ah, having so much.
So I think you might want to restart your system.
I'm even wondering why I'm having so much. They just hold on. Okay, let's go on with the class. This can minimize. Okay. I need to compute spot rates starting at the end of year one. Please, I have a new whiteboard. My first working. Spot rates. At the end of year one. To do this, I'm going to use information from bond A. Bond A is for 1 year maturity. To calculate the spot rates at the end of year one, I'm going to use bond A. Why am I taking bond A? Bond A is for 1 year maturity. I will now itemize the future of bond A. The futures of bond A, maturity is 1 year, maturity 1 year. What is the price of bond A? The price of bond A is 105. What is the coupon on bond A, please? What is the coupon rate? What is the coupon rate? 10%. The coupon rate is 10%. What is the redemption value of bond A? Redemption value
100.
of bond A is 100 naira. These are the futures of bond A. Once you have gotten the futures, now determine the cash flows, future cash flows for bond A expected future cash flows for bond A, expected future cash flows, We have annual interest. The annual interest is calculated on the face value. The face value of a bond is 100. So your annual interest, the coupon is 10%. 10% of 100. Annual interest is 10 naira in year 1. That is year 1, not year 2. Because this bond is for 1 year, redemption value at the end of year 1. The redemption value at the end of year 1 is equal to 100. If you look at the cash flow, both cash flows are in year 1. Oh, why am I putting year 2? If you invest in bond 1, you are going to get interest in year 1. That same year 1, you are going to redeem the debt. That means in year 1, you are going to get 2 cash flow, 100 plus 10. We are going to get 110. Remember definition of spot rates. We said spot rate is the interest rate that we make the price of a bond to be equal to the value at maturity. At maturity, we are going to have 110. The spot rate is that rate that we make the value, that we make the issue price to be equal to the value at maturity. To do this, please look on. To calculate this, we can take this approach. Present value is equal to future value divided by 1 plus half raised to power n. Your present value is equal to future value divided by 1 plus r raised to power n. You can compute your present value in this way. Your present value is the price of the bond now. Look at it, please. The price of the bond now, our present value. Present value is equal to the price of the bond now. The price now is 105. Your future value, we have future value. The future value is the interest plus the redemption. Our future value is in year 1. Future value in year 1 is equal to 110. Your N is just 1 year. Don't need to bother about that too much. If I take this to equation now, what we are looking for is the R. What is R? If I take this to equation, this becomes, please look at it. This becomes my present value, 105 is equal to future value, 110 divided by 1 plus r raised to power n. N in this case is that 1 year, n. What is r? What is R? I can cross multiply this. Is that not, please? I can do like this. 105 into bracket 1 plus R raised to power 1. Any number raised to power 1 is equal to that number. Under rule of indices, this will equal to 110. 105. This is 105, please. We are trying to calculate R. My 105 multiplied by 1 plus R is equal to 110. I can move this forward a bit to become, I will make 1 plus R is equal to 110 divided by 105. Please divide. 110 divided by 105. 1 plus R is equal to what?
1.0476.
1.0476. What is R, please? R is equal to 1.0476 minus 1. This will equal to 0.0476. Your R in percentage, our R in percentage, our R is equal to 4.76%. What you are saying is spot rate at the end of year 1 is equal to spot rate at the end of year 1 is equal to 4.76%. Spot rate at the end of year 1 is equal to 4.76%. We have gotten spot rate at the end of year 1. We have gotten spot rate at the end of year 1. To get spot rate at the end of year 1, you are going to use bond with 1 year maturity. To calculate spot rate at the end of year 2, you are going to use bond with 2 years maturity. To calculate spot rate at the end of year 3, you are going to use bond with 3 years maturity. We have computed for spot rate at the end of year 1. We have computed for spot rate at the end of year 1. Next, we want to compute spot rates at the end of year 2. This is my working tool. Working tool. Spot rates at the end of year 2. I'm going to require bond B. Bond B, because bond B is for 2 years maturity. Then itemize the futures of bond B. We have maturity. How many years, please? 2 years. Please, what is the price of bond B? Hello? What is the price of bond B?
96 naira.
96. What is the coupon for bond B?
4%.
4%. What is the redemption value for bond B?
100.
100.
100. Once you have this, please, I'm itemizing this because I want to explain. You don't need to do itemize in the exam. You have it already. Just go straight to your expected future cash flow now. For bond B, expected future cash flow. Future cash flows. You start with the annual interest. Annual interest. The annual interest is computed on the face value. The face value of a bond is either 100 naira or 1,000. In this case, we shall select 100. 4% of 100 naira, how much, please? That should be 4 naira. 4 naira in year 1. Then annual interest again, because this bond is for 2 years. 4% of 100 naira. That will also give me 4 naira in year 2. Then in year 2, the redemption value. Redemption value of the bond. That will be 100 naira, year 2. You observe that in year 2, you have 2 cash flows. At maturity, you are going to have 2 cash flows. The annual interest plus the redemption. That will give us 104. You have gotten the future cash flows. You can now state the question for present value. The price of a bond is equal to the present value of the future cash flows. The price of a bond is equal to the present value of future cash flow. I can now do like this. Present value is equal to the price of a bond is equal to the present value of the future cash flows. I'll now do like this. Future cash flows. Future cash flow in year 1 divided by 1 plus R in year 1 raised to power 1 plus future cash flow in year 2 divided by that the future value 1 plus R in year 2 raised to power 2. I've gotten the equation. My present value is the price of the bond, 96, is equal to future value in year 1, annual interest in year 1, that is 4, divided by 1 plus R. R in year 1, we have computed. What is the spot rate in year 1? 0.0476. That is spot rate in year 1. This is raised to power 1. Plus future value in year 2. The future value in year 2 is 104. 104. Divided by 1 plus R in year 2 raised to power 2. We don't know R in year 2. That is what we are trying to calculate. We have formed an equation now. With this equation, we can derive R in year 2. Look at the equation. We can come here. Let's continue like this. It's just that it requires space. I can come here now with this equation. I want to carve this out. I can come where I have space here. Look at it. 96 is equal to 4 divided by 1.0476 plus 104 divided by 1 plus R raised to power 2. This is equal to I might need another whiteboard. Another whiteboard is necessary. I'll use 4 now. Wow. See, we consume whiteboard. Oh. Please, let's go to another whiteboard. It will consume board. Okay. I'll just simply come here. We continue from here. Let me expand this. We have 96 is equal to 4 divided by 1.0476 raised to power 1. Any number raised to power 1 is equal to that number plus 104 divided by 1 plus R raised to power 2. Now, please solve. 4 divided by 1.0476. What do you have? 3 points what?
3.8183.
8183 plus 104 divided by 1 plus R raised to power 2. Now I'm going to collect like terms. 96 minus, if I take this 3.8 across is equal to, it becomes 96 minus 3.8. 8183 is equal to 104 divided by 1 plus r raised to power 2. Please solve for this. 96 minus 3.818. What do you have?
92.1817.
92.1817 is equal to 104 divided by 1 plus r raised to power minus 2. Please cross multiply. If I cross multiply, this will give me 92.1817 bracket 1 plus r raised to power 2 is equal to 104. Next. I can make a demarcation here to share this into 2. I will continue from here. I'll continue from here like this. 1 plus r raised to power 2 is equal to 104 divided by 92.1817. I've just made 1 plus r raised to power 2 the subject of the formula. Please divide 104 divided by 92.1817.
1.1282.
1 plus r raised to power 2 is equal to 1.182.
No, 1.1282.
1.1.
282.
Thank you. Now, if I take this power of 2 across is equal to, it becomes square root. 1 plus r is equal to the square root of 1.18282. Please find the square root.
1.0622.
1 plus r is equal to 1.0622. Therefore, our r is equal to 1.0622 minus 1. That will give us 0.0622. Therefore, r in year 2 to percentage multiply by 100, 6.22%. Spot rate at the end of year 2 is 6.22%. Without getting this spot rate, you cannot do forward rates. Without getting this spot rate, you cannot do the forward rates. We can now compute spot rate at the end of year 3. We shared a new whiteboard. I need to expand this. Otherwise, working trade, spot rates at the end of year 3. We are going to use bond C. Bond C is for 3 years maturity. Then I can itemize we can save time here. The future of bond B, 3 years maturity. What is the coupon of bond B? The coupon is 6%. The price is 98. Redemption value is, let me just write it. Future of bond B, maturity is for 3 years. The coupon rate is 6%. The price of bond B is 98. Redemption for bond B is 100. 100. Therefore, the expected cash flow for bond B, expected future cash flow, future cash flows. Annual interest. Annual interest. I'll shorten this. 6% of 100 naira face value. That is 6 naira. That will be year 1. Annual interest again. That is 6% of 100 naira. That gives us 6 naira. Year 2. Annual interest in year 3. This bond is for 3 years. 6% of 100. Also in year 3, the bond will be redeemed at par. Redemption value. Redemption value is equal to 100. So in year 3, we have 2 cash flow. That becomes 106. You now form your equation for 3 years. Look at the equation pattern. I'm using red. Present value is equal to future value in year 1 divided by 1 plus R in year 1 raised to power 1 plus future value in year 2 divided by 1 plus R year 2 plus future value in year 3 divided by 1 plus R year 3. The present value of the bond is the price of the bond now. That becomes 98 is equal to future value in year 1. That is 6 naira. Interest in year 1 is the future value in year 1. 6 naira divided by 1 plus R. R in year 1 we have calculated 0.0476 raised to power 1. Plus future value in year 2, also 6 naira, divided by 1 plus R. R in year 2 is calculated as 0.0622. Put in brackets, raised to power 2, plus future value in year 3, 106 over 1 plus R in year 3. $98 is equal to, please work, 6 divided by 1.0476. What do you have? Let's solve this first two.
5.7274.
5.7274 plus, please work this also. 6 divided by 1 plus 0.0622, everything raised to power 2. Please apply your calculator and get a figure. What do we have, please?
5.3177.
Correct. $5.3177. Come here. That's my cost system. $5.3177 plus 106 divided by 1 plus R. This is raised to power 3, not 2. Raised to power 3, not 2. Now, please sum 5.7274 plus 5.3177. What do you have?
$11.0451.
11.0451. Okay. Of course, that will give me plus 106 divided by 1 plus R raised to power 3. I will collect like times. I want to shift this. I'm trying to look for this. Okay. That means I'm going to have 98 minus 11.0451 is equal to 106 divided by 1 plus r raised to power 3. Difference is 98 minus 11.045.
86.9549.
Please, let's go to a new place. Even at the physical class, it consumes hour. And come here now. So we take it from where we stop. The difference is 86 point what?
86.9549.
Please, join me, keep it. Let me expand this. If I don't expand this thing, we still have more to solve. Okay, continue. 86.9 what?
9549.
9549 is equal to 106 divided by 1 plus r raised to power 3. I will cross multiply. That will give me 86.9459 into bracket 1 plus r raised to power 3 is equal to 106. I will make 1 plus r subjects. 1 plus r raised to power 3 is equal to 106 divided by 86.9549. Please divide.
12190.
Please keep in view.
1.2190.
Please just keep in view. Let me take this thing down again. One plus r raised to power 3 is equal to 1.21. Please complete.
90.
90. I can now say my 1 plus r. If I move raised to power 3, it becomes root of root 3, 1.2190. Please look for the root 3 of 1.29.
1.0682.
Yeah, I'll continue from here. Where is this? 1 plus r is equal to 1.0682. Make r the subject. 1. Oh, no. 1.0682 minus 1. My R is equal to 0.0682. My R is equal to, in percentage, 6.82%. You have got this portrait for year 1, year 2, year 3. Summary. I want to do summary now. Look at it. Summary. RO1, spot rate at the end of year 1 is equal to 4.76%. RO2, spot rate at the end of year 2, 6.22%. Then RO3, spot rate at the end of year 3, 6.820%. This is the summary. That is spot rate. This spot rate is derived from default free bond. You can now compute your forward rates. You can do your forward rate now. Where is that formula for forward rates? Look at the formula now. Can come back here. Look at the formula. Forward rates, 2 years forward rates at the end of year 1. 2 years forward rate at the end of year 1. End of year 1, 2 years later. Year 2, year 3. This is written as, look at it here. I can compute this now. I'll simply come here, or better still, take a new board, I don't know. I can come here. Forward rates 3.1 is equal to, open my brackets, 1 plus spot rate at the end of year 3 that we just computed, 0.0682. Close my bracket. Raised to power 3. Raised to power 3 divided by 1 plus R. Now, spot rate at the end of year 1, we have calculated 0.0476. Close your brackets, raised to power 1. Then close all the brackets. Is equal raised to power 1 minus 1 divided by, look at it, 3 minus 1. That will give us 2. When you get your answer, minus 1. When you are done with this, minus 1. Now, please apply your calculator for this. Please give me 1 plus 0.0682 raised to power 2, raised to power 3, divided by 1 plus 0.0476 raised to power 1. Everything minus 1. Please apply your calculator and give us the final answer. Final answer. Yes, anybody? Your final answer, you are going, when you get answer here, remember the formula, you have -1.
1.87.
7 points.
7.87.
Correct. Your final answer will give you, if you -1, you are going to have in percentage, forward rates, 2 years forward rate at the end of year 1 is 7.87%. The 2 years forward rate at the end of year 1 is 7.87%. Your answer, you are going to -1 here. Your final answer, you are going to deduct 1 here. And look at it, we have estimated the 2 years forward rate at the end of year 1. The 2 years forward rate at the end of year 1 is computed at 7.87. I will now come to the 1 year forward rate at the end of year 2. At the end of year 2, 1 year forward rate. How many are you going to count? At the end of year 2, 1 year forward rate will now give you end of year 2, then year 3. Look at the equation. Look at the equation. If I'm to define that, 1 year forward rate at the end of year 2 is going to be F3 to 2. 1 year forward rates commencing at the end of year 2. That means at the end of year 2, 1 year later will be 3 years. This is 1 year forward rate, 1 year forward rates at the end of year 2. Our F3, 2 is defined as calculation like this. 1 plus RO3. This 3 is for n. Raised to power 3 divided by 1 plus RO, 2 raised to power 2. Everything, close the brackets. 1 divided by 3 minus 2. Everything minus 1. My forward rate, 1 year forward rate at the end of year 2 is equal to, continue, 1 plus spot rate at the end of year 3, 0.0682. This is raised to power 3 divided by 1 plus spot rate at the end of year 2, 0.0622 raised to power 2. The bigger brackets, 1 all over 3 minus 2. That will give me 1. Everything minus 1. Please work this out. And your final answer is what? One plus raised to power 3 divided by 1 plus 0.0622 raised to power 2.
It was giving negative.
It's not possible.
Exactly.
It's error in your calculation.
I got
This should give
8.029. Okay, 8300, something like that. 8
we should
point.
have 0.3.
Yes.
Correct. If you multiply by 100, take it to percentage, you are going to have finance. Let me move this out small. Forward rates, 1 year forward rate at the end of year 2 is equal to 8.03%. You can't get negative. And let me say
It
this.
shouldn't be negative, but I'm still getting negative. But I'll check why.
And
I got
I'll check why.
8.02% as well.
is it negative you got as well?
No.
It can't be
Okay.
negative, but I'll see why I'm making a mistake.
Okay, two people have confirmed the answer. So please check your calculation again. You can never get negative, and that's also important. Please, when you calculate your forward rate, the answer can never be negative.
No, Oga, I agree that it cannot be negative. So I'm confirming that there must be an error somewhere, not that the answer is negative.
No, I'm not attacking you. You understand? I'm just saying that if you get negative, that means there's a computational error. Now, go back. Apply your calculator now. Let's take it together ourselves. On your calculator, let's go back to it. You have 1 plus 0.086682 raised to power 3. Is that not? What do you have? What's your answer there?
I've seen it. I've seen
1.2189.
where I made a mistake.
No,
It's okay. I've seen where I made a mistake.
It's even okay we do it, because some will not talk. You understand? It's not about one person. That you have made a mistake. You have attempted safe.
No,
Some
it's
will
not
not
dividing. I was
even
subtracting. That is what cost.
Some might not even, so it's even good we do it together. You understand? So, but we are fine now. Anybody having challenge with this? Anybody having challenges with this? Okay. We have just resolved the A part of the question. Let us go to the B part of this question. The B part says you are considering buying a 3-year 9% annual coupon paying bond with a face value of 1,000 naira. The bond is a default-free bond. That means that bond is government bond. Now B1 says, calculate the price of the bond and its yield to maturity. Clearly explain why you may not realize the calculated yield to match the calculated yield. The question says calculate the price of the bond. You now ask ourselves, what is the price of a bond? The price of a bond is the present value of the future cash flows associated with the bond. The price of a bond is the present value of the future cash flows associated with the bond. Now, this bond is a default-free bond. If I derive the future cash flow, I'm going to discount this bond cash flow using the spot rates of a default-free bond. For me to calculate the price of this bond, let's move to that solution because of time. We said the price of a bond is the present value of the future cash flows associated with the bond. Come here, B1. We have coupon paying bond. price of the bond. First, itemize the futures of the bond. The bond, the maturity of this bond is for 3 years. Maturity 3 years. The coupon on this bond, the coupon is 9%. The face value of the bond, the face value is equal to 1,000 naira. Redemption value of the bond. If you look at that question, the examiner is silent about the redemption value of this bond. If you look at this question, the examiner is silent. Where the examiner is silent, you are going to assume that the bond will be redeemed at par. Where the question is silent about the redemption value of the bond, you are going to assume that the bond will be redeemed at par. Look at the par. 1,000 naira. We have itemized the futures of the bond. Next is to compute the expected future cash flows. Expected future cash flows. You start with the annual interest. Annual interest. %9 of the face value. In this case, the face value is given to us to be 1,000. This is equal to 90 naira in year 1. Next.
It's true. You already know standalone selling price transaction. So two things here. It's contract assets and receivables. So mostly everyone is familiar with receivables.
Please.
Receivables is when you have transferred goods or services to the customer and your right to consideration is unconditional.
Can you mute? Thank you. %9 year 2. 90. Oh, this is year 1. Sorry, this is my year 2. It's going to be year 1. Then annual interest again. 9% of 1,000. This is 19 year 3. Also in year 3, the redemption value. Redemption. The redemption value. Redemption value is at par, 1,000. That means in year 3, we have 2 cash flow totaling 1,090. We now need to discount this cash flow to their present value. We can use the same approach. Look at it. Present value is equal to future value in year 1, not to waste time. 90 in year 1 divided by 1 plus R. What is R? What is the spot rate in year 1? 0.0476. raised to power 1 plus future value in year 2, 90 over 1 plus R in year 2. What is the spot rate in year 2? Spot interest rates
622.
0.0622 raised to power 2 plus future value in year 3 1090 divided by 1 plus what is spot rate in year 3?
0.06826.
682 raised to power 3. Please work this out. The present value 90 divided by 1.0476. What do you have?
$85.910.
85.910 plus 90 divided by 1.0622 raised to power 2. That should give us what?
9.7730.
79.77 plus the last one 1090 divided by 1 plus 0.0682 raised to power 3. That will give me 89.4.27. So 79.77 plus 85.91. The price of the bond, that is the present value of the bond, future cash flow is equal to 10, approximately 60. The price of the bond, is equal to 1060. We are done with that. We now move to the bond yield. Move to the bond yield. Next. Here on B1, we have yield to the maturity, YTM. The yield to maturity of a bond. The yield to maturity of a bond is the internal rate of return of the cash flows associated with the bond. The yield to maturity of a bond is the internal rate of return of the cash flows associated with the bond. Move straight to this. We have the year, I have year 0, year 1, year 2, year 3. This bond is for 3 years. My item, this is the issue price of the bond. This is the price of the bond. In year 0, annual interest. In year 1, annual interest. in year 2. Then annual interest plus the redemption value plus the redemption value. I'll take my cash flow. The price of the bond, that is the price we have computed. The issue price of the bond is 1060. The price of the bond in year 0 will be an outflow. If you are investing in the bond, you are going to pay 1,060. That's an outflow. In year 1, you are going to get annual interest of 90. In year 2, you are going to get annual interest of 90. Year 3, you are going to get annual interest plus the redemption value, 1,090. So we need to get the internal rate of return of these cash flows. To calculate internal rate of return, you are going to assume a discount rate. Let us assume, what should we assume here? What should we start with?
Maybe 10. 10%.
Okay. 10%. At 10%, discount factor in year 0 is 1. 10% discount factor in year 1, 0.909. 10% in year 2, 0.826. 10% in year 3, 0.751. Please get the present value. 1 multiplied by the cash flow, 1060 negative. 90 multiplied by 0.909, what do you have?
81.81.
81.81. Next.
74.34.
74.34. Next.
818.59.
818.55. Please sum up to get the NPV.
59. Size 9, not 5. 59.
All right. No problem. What is the NPV, please?
974.74.
97. No.
4.
You have to deduct it now. You have to deduct 1,060 points.
Negative
Yes, that's
85.26.
negative 85.26.
Negative
85.26.
0.26. Okay. At 10%, we have a negative NPV. So if you want to get positive, what are we going to do? Are we going to reduce?
Maybe 5%.
Okay, we are going to reduce to like 5%. Okay. Discount factor at 5%.
It works.
This is 1. 0.9 what? 5.2 or 3, I'm not sure. Please let me check.
5.2.
In year 2, what is the discount factor at 5%?
0.907.
907.
0.07. Year 3, 0.9 or 0.8.
0.864.
Present value, second present value, 1 multiplied by 1060, negative 1060. 0.95 to multiply by the cash flow.
85.68.
85.68. Next.
81.6.
81.63.
81.63. Next.
941.76.
941.76. Get your MPV. It should give us positive now.
That's 9.27.
40.
49.07.
49.27.
07. We can now compute the YTM. YTM of this bond is equal to the internal rate of return, positive lower discount rate, 5 plus 49.07 divided by 49.07 plus 85.26 multiplied by, open a bracket, 10 minus 5. What is the final answer, please? What is the YTM of this bond?
6.83%.
6.83%. We have gotten the YTM. The yield to maturity of a bond is the internal rate of return of the cash flows associated with the bond. We have done that. So we have calculated the price of the bond, its yield to maturity. Now, still on Roman figure 1, it says, clearly explain why you may not realize the calculated yield. What could happen that will make the investor not to realize the calculated yield? Please look at the explanation. The explanation is given, reasons are given here. Look at the reasons. 1, timely receipts of the associated cash flow. Timely receipts, that's the reason why the investor may not realize the calculated yield. The calculated yield is 6.83%. What are the likely reasons why the investor may not realize the calculated yield? 1, timely receipt of the associated cash flows. If the coupons and the redemption value are not received as and when due, the realized yield will be less than 6.8%. Because of the time value of money. What this means is that if you don't get the interest at the end of year 1, you don't get the interest at the end of year 2, then that will affect your realized yield. You may not realize the yield to maturity. Point number 2, reinvestment risk. The coupon received at the end of year 1 and at the end of year 2 the coupon received at the end of year 1 and at the end of year 2 are reinvested at a rate below 6.83%. If the coupon are invested at a rate below the yield to maturity, that is 6.8, then the realized yield will be less than 6.8%. But the expectation is that you are going to get interest at the end of year 1, and you are going to reinvest it at the yield to maturity. If you get the interest at the end of year 1 and you fail to reinvest at the rate of YTM, then your realized yield will not be the same as your yield to maturity. Then point number 3, we call it price risk. If the bond is not hedged to maturity, when we say yield to maturity, when we say yield to maturity, it means that the bond must be maintained or must be kept until maturity. If the bond is not hedged to maturity, in this case, at the end of year 3, the investor may realize capital gain or loss when the bond is sold prior to maturity. If the bond is sold before 3 years, the realized yield will not be the same as the calculated yield to maturity. So these are the reasons why the investor may not realize the yield calculated. Any question, please? Let's look at next question. B Roma figure 2. B Roma figure 2 says 1 year after purchasing the bond at the price you have calculated, and if there are no changes in market interest rate, will you expect the price of the bond to increase, fall, or remain constant? Let us explain the question small. Examiner say 1 year after you purchase your bond at the price you have calculated. The price we have calculated is 1,060. So you purchase at 1,060. 1 year after, okay? If the interest rates, if there's no changes or there are no changes in market interest rate, do you expect this price, the price of the bond, to rise or to fall? Or remain constant? To answer this question, you are going to look at 2 things. the price of the bond is above face value. The issue price of this bond as computed. I want to show the whiteboard. Now let me look at it. Okay. Look at the price. The price is 1,060. That means as of today, the price of the bond is 160. At the end of 3 years, the bond will be redeemed at par value. That is 1,000. Now the question is, will you expect this price to fall after 1 year if interest rates remain unchanged? Or do you expect the price of the bond to rise after 1 year? If the interest rate remain unchanged, what's our response? The response to this is given in the question.
Oh.
The bond is a premium bond. That bond is issued at a premium. 1,060. The price of the bond is more than its face value. That's a premium bond. The bond is a premium bond. Generally, the price of a premium bond falls with passage of time. Generally, the price of a premium bond falls with passage of time. The reason for this is that at maturity, the market value and the face value must be the same. At maturity, the market value and the face value must be the same. Since the face value will be paid at maturity, the bond will mature at face value of 100. Hence, the market value of the bond at the end of year 1 will be less than the market value, the current market value now. At the end of year 1, the price of the bond will be less than 1,060. Even if interest rate remain unchanged, the price of the bond will fall at maturity. That is the expected response to that question. The last aspect of this question: estimate and interpret the modified duration of the bond. Estimate and interpret the modified duration of the bond. The next question is, what is modified duration? Question is, what is modified duration? How do we estimate modified duration? Without wasting time, modified duration is closely similar to duration. It is used to estimate percentage change in the value of a bond, the percentage change in the price of a bond. If there is a small change in interest rate as a result of small change in interest rates, to calculate modified duration, the formula is look at my whiteboard. The formula is our modified duration, is equal to D over 1 plus R, or Y, better still, let's use Y, where your D is your duration of the bond, Your Y is your YTM, yield to maturity. We have calculated the YTM of this bond to be 6.83%. So we need to calculate the duration. Before you can compute modified duration, you must compute your duration first. So we need to calculate duration first. The duration of this bond, look at it, duration of the bond, you have like 3 steps involved here. Step 1 is to calculate the YTM of the bond. We have done that. So you pick your year 1, year 2, year 3. Now pick your cash flow, 90 naira in year 1, 90 naira in year 2, 90, 1090 in year 3. Please note, when calculating duration, you don't require year 0. Then this cash flow now, discount with the YTM. Just come here. Discount factor. Discount factor is equal to 6.83%, the YTM. Please find discount factor, 6.83%. Discount factor year 1, year 2, year 3. Yeah. discount factor at 6.8%. Year one, what do you have, please? Hello?
0.936.
0.936. Yeah, that's correct. 0.936. For year two, how much?
0.876.
0.876. For year three, how much?
0.820.
Get the present value. The present value, 90 multiplied by 0.936.
84.24.
84.24. Next.
78.84.
78.84. The last one.
893.8. Or
83.8.
8.
Then last column, present value multiplied by n. For year one, our n is 1. 1 multiplied by 84.24. That's 84.24. Number 2, 2 multiplied by
157.68.
157.8. Next.
2681.4.
That's 3 multiplied by 893.8.
2681.4.
2681.4.
This is 81.4. Now, please sum up your present value. Summation of present value.
$2923.32.
The last one.
Yes, summation.
3 point what?
0.32.
What do you have here?
1056.88.
56.88. Your duration is equal to duration, D is equal to summation present value multiplied by n divided by summation present value. This is equal to 2923.32 divided by 1056.8. What do you have, please?
2.77 years.
We have 2.77. Yeah. Point 77. You have just gotten the duration. You can now compute your modified duration. I can go back up now. Modified duration is equal to duration 2.77 divided by 1 plus yield to maturity 0.06883. This gives me 2.77 divided by 1.0683. Final answer?
2.59.
2.59. Two 2.59 to be in percentage. We have estimated the modified duration. It now requires explanation. We are done with the computation. What remains now is the interpretation of the modified duration and the limitation. We are done with the calculation. What remains now is the interpretation of modified duration. Look at the comments here. Look at the comments. Modified duration measures the change in the value of a bond. Modified duration measures the change in the value of a bond if there is 1% change in interest rates. Modified duration measures the change in the value of a bond, assuming there's a 1% change in interest rates. For example, if interest rate increases by 1%, the price of the bond is expected to fall by approximately 2.95%. This computation you have made is that if interest rates should rise by 1%, the value of the bond will fall by 2.69%. Modified duration does not consider the convexity of a bond that is dependent on the particular characteristic of the bond, such as maturity, almost 11, 7. We are done, Sha. It does not consider the convexity of the bond that is dependent on the particular feature of the specific bond. Modified duration does not consider the convexity of the bond that is dependent on the particular feature particular features of the specific bond in terms of maturity, amount of coupons, payment due days, the coupon rate, and what have you. Modified duration is only a good approximation of bond price change. It's an approximation of change in the price of bond. It assumes that there will be small change in interest rates. It also assumes that the yield curve is flat. A parallel shift of the interest rate curve is considered under modified duration. A parallel shift. Of the interest rate curve will be considered. And lastly, an instantaneous interest rate change. We are done with this question. So watch out for modified duration. Watch out for forward rate. Watch out for spot rate. We are done with this question, and by extension, we are done with this topic. If there's no question, I will be checking.